All right, so the bomb just dropped. The big news has arrived that probably some of you were expecting. Blizzard is on the legal warpath, and Epoch very much so now has a target painted on its back, much in the way that has happened with Turtle WoW. And then since we last recorded, and I wasn't able to talk about because it hadn't happened yet, Everlook had the same cease and desist letter, I believe, sent in their direction. And that's interestingly run by the same people as Turtle WoW. So for a second there, I sort of thought, oh, okay, maybe they're just waging war on this one developer or something. They're really going after them. But of course, a small part of me was like, look, I can kind of see the direction the wind is blowing on this one. Let's, hold our breath and see how long it takes. And then we got the news just a few hours ago that the developers of Epoch have notably received a cease and desist letter as opposed to having a lawsuit filed against them. So they've kind of had not as serious of a legal step taken against them, but still, a notable one. When that letter arrives in the mail, you're going to perk up and take notice and go, oh shit, they mean business. So all this stuff has happened, and people are going ballistic in the Countdown Discord, all discussing what this means and what's going to happen next. And we were waiting for an update from the Epoch team, and then we got one. And sorry, I'm just going to turn up my volume real quick. Bear with me 1 second. Very good. And so then what happened was we started hearing back from the Epoch development team and the Ascension team on what they were planning to do next. So what we got told was the Epoch team via K-Totes, the lead dev and sort of, brainchild of all of this. He has said that, all right, I'm stepping out, okay? I'm announcing to the world, watch me say this, I am taking down what I can take down since I entered this agreement with Ascension. I will take down the Epoch website. I will, stop developing Winky. At least that's how I read it. For Project Epoch, we're all out. We're done. Whatever Ascension does, I'm paraphrasing, but whatever Ascension does from here is on them. The original Epoch team is out. Smoke bomb. Then we heard from the Ascension team who said, okay, so as far as our side of the development goes, they did the Wolf of Wall Street. We're not fucking going anywhere. The servers will stay up. We will not only keep them up, but we will continue development for them. And they're basically saying to the player base, you can continue to play here, and we will keep rolling on the subtext was for as long as we can. But there definitely seemed to be a sense of defiance in their posts that they weren't wilting and rolling over because of this cease and desist letter. So that's where we are. That's a very, very, crude TLDR of what has happened over the last 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to open it up to the crowd here. I woke up 20 minutes ago, guys. It's, just before 7 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. I'm still sort of wrapping my head around all this, but, like I said, I was half prepared for it anyway. So I sort of know what I would want to say, but I'll open it up to the crowd. Laz, I might start with you, mate. And, get you to kick us off and just say the simple question. What was your reaction to the news?
Sad, but not surprised. I didn't think they were going to stop. It doesn't make sense just to go after one private server, but I definitely had a lot of fun on this server, and but I can't really complain because it's Blizzard's IP and they have a right to defend it. Especially if they want to.
100%. No, I think it would be. So I'll just say, 100%. We're in the same position with TWoW. Like the cease and desist letter, all of this makes sense. Again, 100% Blizzard, protecting their IP. And my answer, if anyone thinks that my answer is going to fucking change from the massive legal rant I just went on with TWoW because I happened to be playing on Epoch, all the TWoW enjoyers might be rubbing their hands together and going, yes, yes. Now he's going to change his tune because his favorite little private server is, under the eye of Sauron. Fuck no, my answer doesn't change. Blizzard is still completely justified in doing all this. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing, but anyway, we'll go on from there. Sorry, I cut you off, Laz. Keep going.
So I mean, on the one hand, it's sad because I'm having so much fun. on the server. But if you're looking forward to a Blizzard Classic Plus, at least it's showing. I said the same thing last week, but it's showing that they're putting resources into and planning on releasing Classic Plus. Not just plan on releasing it, but they seem to be putting resources and planning into it. So if you're interested in Blizzard's Classic Plus, then it's good news, I think, for you.
Well, I mean, if I can just prod you, and then I'll get to everyone else, guys. I want to hear from as many people as I can on this one. In terms of Blizzard's Classic Plus, you know, the one interesting question that this raises, I thought out loud in the Discord recently and sort of said, you know, I did think this was a little bit maybe of a crusade against TWoW because, like we said, they got too big for their britches. And I said, about 2 days ago in the Discord, I typed out that I don't think, and obviously this was a horrible prediction now, but I said, I don't necessarily think that Blizz will go after Epoch yet being the key word. I said, I think eventually, yes, absolutely. But I wouldn't be shocked if the classic WoW team sort of takes advantage of the free R&D that they're getting via Epoch right now. Like, they get to jump in there and see it. They get to see what people like and what they don't like, what the feedback is. So I was a little bit shocked at the timing, but I guess it makes sense now if this is just the window that they've decided to do all of this. But also, it does lead to the question with the timing, Laz, is there a small chance that Blizzard is cooking up something a little bit sooner than we thought with their Classic Plus? Or do you think their C Plus is still a year away and they're just knocking all this out now well in advance?
I wish I want to be confident and give you an answer, but I have no idea. I think but I do think that the timing, I guess, try to get in their heads. I don't think they want people to get used to this server and having fun and form, communities and rate. Because once you're established, you're having a good time. You're less likely to. You've invested time into your character. You're less likely to switch over to theirs. I know for me, I'm having fun on the server, and they've lost. I had a classic Blizzard sub from 2019 to about January of this year, and I quit. I quit my subscription because of the RMT going on there, and so, I might go back for a classic Blizzard Classic Plus. I might not, but certainly if there's no alternative, I'm more likely to go back to a Blizzard server for sure. Unfortunately, right. And so I think they're going after that. Players like me who might not come back if there's a better alternative.
Very good, very good. We'll open it up, guys. I'll let you go back to tanking the BRD that we're watching live. Laz, thank you so much for trying to talk to us while doing that. Very good. Guys, everyone else, look, there's about 12 of us in this call, so we might trip on each other a little bit, but as best we can, I'll try and direct traffic here. Who wants to talk to me next about what was your reaction to this legal news on Epoch?
I could respond a little bit to what Lazarus was saying as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that he's raised a good point that it does increase the likelihood that we get a Blizzard Classic Plus, which we kind of already knew anyway. But I fear that it doesn't speak well for what we get when we get Classic Plus. If you want to frame it from how does it affect the Blizzard product, but just like you're saying, this is a beautiful experiment in what a Classic Plus is. It's got a lot of people excited, a lot of people playing. It's a buggy mess, and it's still got us all excited and geeked out like it was 2019 again. So,
well, to be fair, wasn't sorry, not so much 2019, but I was going to say, to be half fair, wasn't 2004 a slight buggy mess as well?
I was 12, desperately coming up with reasons to go to my cousin's house to get to play it, so I couldn't speak to it. But yeah, just the fact that rather than treat it like, I don't know, I think it was Ubi that called it an ant farm or something, but treat it like an experiment, right? Watch it grow, see what happens, take the good stuff, leave the bad. to try to shut it down instead. That does not make me confident for the next go round.
Did apologies for the notification, guys. I promise I'll turn those off right now in terms of the sound. Let me ask you, Elmo, did the news affect your desire to play on the server at all? Did it change your plans at all?
The highs and lows. I mean, my plans? No. My plans are to kill Mert Guild warriors to get whatever, the drop is for my next quest and continue STV. But I don't know. I stopped playing Blizzard servers because they stopped offering things that I wanted to play. And I'm not going to go back just because they kill my favorite server.
All right. Who wants to jump in next? I'm looking at Axel, Leroy, Henrix, you guys. Someone be brave. Dive in. What was your reaction to the news?
Yeah, well, basically, I just received the news like an hour ago, so I haven't had time to reflect upon it yet. But I'm not really shocked because like the amount of popularity this service received in just the last couple of weeks, they were like bound to get Blizzard's eyes upon them. It's sad because I'm having a lot of fun on the server, but like I think at least for me, I'm gonna go the captain's route and go down with the ship. So I'm gonna be on here until, well, if or when the server goes down.
Very good. Go for it.
I'm in a similar opinion. If anything, I'm a little surprised. I feel like they pulled the trigger a little too soon for their own sake. We've talked about it a number of times. It's just like this is the best kind of market testing they could do, right? And so to try, like, they obviously have to try and kill it because legal reasons, but I just thought they might have waited another month just to try and get more data, see what works, what doesn't. Like, we know the classic devs listen in on the pod and, just getting even just us to play it and get that feedback might help them. So that's kind of what surprised me. Just not necessarily the action, but the timing and the pace.
Yeah, I am genuinely surprised. Well, I mean, like I said, it's hard to, like, you have to put in that fair bit of weight of it's not completely unexpected. But yeah, I am still surprised like you are. It's just on that legal point of like, I don't know the answer to this, but a lot of people frequently do parrot out the whole, oh, well, they have to. They have to pursue them legally because otherwise, if they don't do it, then they run the risk, or they fall into the potential jeopardy of losing the IP or something. And I'm not 100% sure that that's exactly how it works. I'm sure there is some element of like needing to keep people on their toes and whatnot. But like I'd need someone smarter than me to tell me what the necessity of pursuing all private servers are, because like Blizzard hasn't touched a private server in years. So I'm not so convinced on that. They have to go after all of them. If they leave one, it breaks some, rule that I don't know about that, lets them lose their IP or the right to chase private servers. I'm really not so sure that's the case. But like, Laz, you're saying to me that it might be relevant in terms of damages, and look, that may well be the case in terms of, again, I'm still not super convinced because I'm not as sure in court, Laz, you'd have to tell me otherwise, how well the submission from the other side going, oh, why'd you come after us and not go after them, and oh, you don't get to get as many damages from us because you didn't pursue all the bad guys. I'm not super convinced that is a relevant argument. Laz, you'll have to tell me otherwise.
I'm not either, which is why I didn't say it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not confident at all in that, but
yeah,
it might be relevant to the amount of damages you can get.
Well, but you're still only filing suit against that one party. Like in the Blizzard versus Turtle WoW lawsuit, Turtle WoW doesn't get to say, hey, bullshit. you've asked for $100 million in damages. We say that should be 50 million because we're not, all of the problem. There are other servers doing what we're doing. Split the bill here, Blizzard. That's not how it works. It's Blizzard versus Turtle WoW. If they ask for 100 million and they can justify it, that's the figure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not so sure that making other efforts against other perpetrators allows you to jack up the amount that you're asking for because you're putting up a much more vigorous defense against from your IPs against your IP. But like, I don't know.
You still have to justify it though.
Yeah. Justifying damages is one thing, but I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is I won't say I'm right on this one. Just my gut is telling me that, like, I think Blizzard is within their rights to act or not act whenever the fuck they want, and act or not act against whoever they want. They can selectively pursue whatever fucking lawsuit they want. I think they absolutely could have stayed off of Epoch's, front door on this one and still been just as their suit against TWoW wouldn't be affected in the slightest. But if I'm wrong. Someone smarter than me can correct me on that one if that's the case. So that's why
I agree with you, Josh. I think it's more of a business decision than a legal one because I think they're afraid of just losing people. Like in MMOs, people develop habits and they have like their favorite MMOs. Like people stay with MMOs for a long time. Even like it's hard to get them to switch.
Yeah.
So they just might not want people to get too used to Epoch or too comfortable.
1000%. And that's where you'll pull me back to that making more sense. Is it's not a legal thing. It's a business thing. Like you've said, Laz, people were raising this in the Discord. And I do tend to agree that they might have marked this point in time as an important one because they're like, well, now that Epoch's actually really getting quite popular and solidifying its position, it's ridden through the stormy waves of those first few weeks of launch, and now it's a legit product. And people are signing up, and, more and more people are fucking getting involved as they see that it's, people are experiencing the higher level content and reports are starting to come back that it's good. This is how Turtle WoW grew from nothing into something. They don't want to let Epoch have the same level of bandwidth and allow that word of mouth to spread and get people rolling because, these, as we said with Turtle WoW, these servers are not, done within that opening launch window. Turtle had no one playing it for years, for like a couple of years, and it was the slowest snowball rolling down the hill that gathered more and more players, word of mouth spread, and it grew into what it was. And I could see from a business perspective, Blizzard then saying, well, we're not going to let this fucking happen to Epoch, you know what I mean? And particularly given that they are releasing a classic fucking plus project, like we keep saying, it will wind up being the worst kept secret in gaming that this is what Blizzard is doing. They're entering the space as well. And I'd said years ago on the pod, and all of you have pointed out the same thing. You're not dumb. We know how this fucking works. When they went against Nestarius, they get legally heavy when they are about to enter the market. Why would they allow for competition that is legally not allowed when they can just own the space? You fuck off all the competitors and go, motherfuckers, those are our subscribers. And I think you raise a really, really good point, Laz, in terms of once people start an MMO and they like it and they get their teeth sunk into it, they don't want to quit. Leveling's a thing. Time investment is a thing. They've got characters now that they don't want to abandon. I completely agree with you that if they let people fall in love with Epoch, it will not necessarily be over, but like that's a huge win for Epoch when they've got something coming out in what we think will be a year. And they're not interested in sharing any of that revenue. That's totally understandable. But like I said, it totally makes sense. And I don't know, I just thought that maybe the classic team would have been in the ear of the legal department going like, just hold off on this one for a few more months, maybe 6 more months, fellas. We just want to see what they're doing here. Maybe, obviously that wasn't the case. But like we say, it was only a cease and desist letter as opposed to a full lawsuit being filed. So take that for what you will. But I'll open it up to the rest of the guys. Anyone else want to extrapolate on the points that we've just raised here? Arcos, I
Yes.
see. Sorry, you go, Jordan, and then Arcos. Go for it, mate.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned a minute ago that they haven't gone after private servers for years, but, we don't know if that's true. It was just a cease and desist letter, and the one that they sent after the one that starts with an E, maybe Everlook, also
yeah.
a cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
They may send those out all the time, and we're just only hearing about it right now because people are paying attention, and the devs are more scared because of what's happening with Turtle Wallet. The private server devs don't want things to escalate.
True, but I feel that the private server community is a very gossipy, loose lips, sink ships kind of one, and some kind of word would have come back about a letter being sent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just can't imagine that Warmane, for example, or Ascension hasn't been getting these for years and just ignore them.
That's a fair point. That's a very, very fair point. Yeah, I shouldn't sort of speak out of school too much when I don't know what the fuck the reality of the situation is. Arcos, my friend, how are you?
Yep, I'm good. What's up?
I'm better now that I get to hear your voice, my friends. Now, look, you and your little level 21 warrior that you've been complaining about the leveling process and saying this is all too hard. I only know how to zug in a raid. Mate, how do you feel about all this? Oh, pardon me.
Well, I think it was kind of to be expected, right?
Yeah,
We're always going to get something, but the response is what the response is. I think he's just covering his ass, right?
That's very wise and expansive of you, mate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure what you were looking for. Like, I think anyone who's playing the server should have been expecting them to get a takedown notice in some form. They get it in a cease and desist letter form, and the guy who just 3 weeks ago sold his work to someone else has posted a note saying that he's not involved with it anymore. Like, I don't know. It's just textbook trying to wipe his hands publicly of the taint, and whether he stays on behind the scenes or not remains to be seen.
You're regularly wiping your hands of the taint, aren't you, Arcos? It's just one of those things that needs to be done at times.
Yep.
That's how it goes. Boys, let's keep going around the room. Who hasn't been heard, who would like to be heard on your initial reaction to this one?
Well, it's more like a question, if I'm honest. Like, where do the Ascension team sit on this fence? Because, I mean, if Blizzard's gone after Epoch, but obviously they must know that Epoch servers are not hosted by the Epoch team. So where does that go?
Look, I immediately drew the same conclusion that it seems many of the Countdown listeners did when they were discussing this via text in the Discord. Look, knowing what I know of which is probably very little, but knowing what I know of private server devs, and if you're bold enough to spin this stuff up in the first place, knowing that it's not fucking above board, I just think that they're doing the I don't want to call it childish, because it's not, childish isn't the right term, but I can't think of a better descriptor. They're trying to sort of do it's the equivalent of, the move that people do on Facebook that years ago, and I haven't been on Facebook in years, but I presume idiots still do it. When you see those posts going around on Facebook or an equivalent where people write down the bottom of it, like something about like, I opt out of, any legal ramifications, or you are not allowed to take my private information. I hereby say you're not allowed to do it. And all the boomers write this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get those kinds of vibes from what K-Totes has done here, where he's kind of like, he's putting up the big sign saying, I, K-Totes, officially drop out of development of this server. I will have nothing to do with it moving forward. We are not going to be working on this game. I will shut down the website, and as far as you're all concerned, I don't exist anymore. There, I said
It's
the line.
incredibly well crafted. Like maybe he was responding to points in the cease and desist letter because he's like, we're not going to host servers for any Blizzard or Activision games. And I did think it was a nice 1-2 punch with the post from the Ascension devs afterwards that immediately was like, oh no, things are fine. And actually there's tons of stuff in the pipeline that we're going to be releasing for months, because that kind of gives them cover to maybe keep working on it secretly.
Well, that's what I expect. So that's what I'm getting at is I don't think those guys, personally, if I had to bet money on it, I don't think those guys are going anywhere. I think they're absolutely going to keep working on it, you know, in the quote unquote shadows, as people say, and just be like, yeah, fuck you, we're not going anywhere. That's just what I would expect.
The funny thing is that Ascension has hired a new developer called Toxicity.
Mr. Snrub is now on the case. Absolutely. I like the way Snrub thinks. Very, very good. Guys, just on anyone else please speak now or forever hold your silence just on this first question of your reaction. Did anyone ride the roller coaster? Did anyone throw their PC out the window in anger?
I definitely think that the legal department is probably not talking to the developers of WoW Blizzard. I do think they kind of operate on their own separate things, so that's why all the legal cease and desists went out to, you know, Everlook and Turtle and now Epoch. I think they just hit everybody. It was probably their plan to do it for everybody, and they're not going to be talking with the dev side of anything saying, hey, can we do this server but not this server? So I just think it's kind of coincidence, and mostly
I would tend to agree. I definitely don't think the big wigs at the legal department are waiting for the fucking thumbs up from Tim Jones on whether or not they can file a suit or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're just doing the basic due diligence. Like, they don't have to go after everybody, but they have to show enough legal precedent that they are attempting to protect the IP, which is what cease and desist do. So it's just enough for them to say, hey, we did our job. We've been defending our IP. So that's what they probably do every now and then. Ascension probably has a stack of them already. Warmain probably has enough to build a house out of at this point. It's just kind of what they do. And I think that Katos and Epoch just use this as their excuse to say, hey, we got the notice. We can now say we're done. We're, you know, it's the Simpsons thing of we're leaving the bar and we'll just go into the back.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Sorry, guys, I am sipping a coffee while I'm doing this one. Okay, guys, that's the initial reactions. Does anyone? I mean, I know they've already told us this in terms of they're not shutting down. I want to know how you guys felt about your future involvement on Project Epoch. Did this news move the needle for any of you in terms of your personal time investment, which no doubt has been hefty to this point? Did you all of a sudden get worried for the time you've put into the game? You know, a couple of people in Countdown, look, don't get me wrong, understandably, have said, look, that's it. That's the shot across the bow. I'm stopping my character's leveling here. And albeit it's only a couple of people, it's a minority. You know, I can't justify putting hundreds of hours into this thing when it could have the plug pulled on it tomorrow. I'm fucking out. I had the opposite reaction where, you know, I put the old Wolf of Wall Street gif in the Discord that you all saw, and I fucking meant it. I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm having the time of my life, and I'll talk more about that soon. But I really meant every word that I swapped back and forth with Ubi on this topic, saying, look, if this thing gets killed tomorrow, all I will do is think about the fun that I had leading up to that moment. And I've had so much fun. I will not be holding a Viking funeral for this Warlock character. I don't give a fuck about this Warlock character. It's just fun experiencing this server and the new content, and those are the eyes through which I do it. Has this news changed any of your opinions about how you will approach this server moving forward?
It didn't change my opinion on like leveling, but it does make me a little, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but concerned about like what the 60 plus content's going to look like.
That's
I think
fair.
they've talked about dropping a new roadmap, and so it's kind of sad in some way that it's like maybe we're not going to see what the original Epoch developers wanted in-game rating to look like.
That's fair. Now, Tsunami, who's relatively, pretty clued in on all this stuff and has been following this project for years and has it completely hooked to her veins, she seems to think, and take this with a grain of salt, it's only, Tsunami's not a dev or anything, but she's been, right on there with the betas and everything. She seems to think they've got content up to phase 2 already done. So at least in the short term, it seems we'll be playing the original devs' designs, you know what I mean? And, that's if we are to believe that the original devs are gone and, old Totes K or whatever, as Arcos says, is not on the case. But I hear you, and I felt the same concern, Leroy. I was like, oh, does this mean once we get to BWL, we are going to start to see a different devs' designs? Because quite frankly, I've been on the show saying whoever did all this stuff that we've seen through the leveling experience is a fucking god tier dev. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a few little things that are nitpicky that are, clearly amateur work. We keep talking about the bizarre obsession with not putting in any reference to where to turn in a quest through all the new quests, and there's warts, but the actual quests that they've designed, the lore that they've written, the dungeons that they've drawn up, the items that they've crafted, it's all fucking S+ tier. So I want this guy making this content going forward. And if you then pass the baton over to some other person, well, I'm immediately going to say, well, it can only get worse from here. I'm not going to believe it can get the same or better. So I completely am with you there. Anyone else on this?
Yeah, it does make me a bit nervous for the future to see what's going to happen. I'm obviously of the conspiracy theory that they're all still working from behind the scenes, and this is a nice curtain, so I don't think it's going to change much long term. But we'll have to see how the content rolls out. If we see a big fall off in content or style change, we'll definitely know that, hey, there's probably different people behind the scenes now.
Yeah. I agree with Mirko. If anything, it's made me want to get through not necessarily get through the content quicker, but I want to see as much of this new content as I can before any kind of shit hits the fan. Because I'm really not only am I number one, first and foremost, and most importantly, enjoying the new content and going through that experience as a player, I'm also in the back of my head, whether or not this is, you could say whether or not this is fair, I think it's entirely fair. I am building a case against Blizzard, for lack of a better term, in terms of this creates the bar to which to compare them against. And if I've seen heaps of content in Epoch, I can then play whatever Blizzard throws out next and completely have a solid comparative point where I'm like, well, yeah, I played a shitload of Epoch and I know what a good Classic Plus server can look like, and you are now being judged against that. And if you fail the smell test, then I'm going to go fucking ballistic. Whereas if I didn't play that much of Epoch, then everything, this might be part of Blizzard's ploy as well. If you didn't get to see that much of Epoch, or if you got scared away from it, then you're going into their version of Classic Plus relatively, with fresh eyes. You don't know what, you could have had elsewhere. And so you may be more likely to view their stuff favorably, as opposed to, hey, someone else did this and they did it a lot better than you. So there's that angle too. So what I'm getting at, guys, I'll point people out maybe now. Yak, let me throw it to you if that's okay, mate. You might have been happily listening in, but I'll throw you in the fire here. Did this news change your, attack plan with Epoch at all?
Not really. It solidified the fact that I'm not going back to a Blizzard server. At this point, Epoch has been so good that there's no other offering like it that Blizzard isn't already threatening. So if the server does shut down, which I agree, I don't think it will. I think Ascension's going to keep it going.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
If it does get shut down, there's just no WoW for me.
No, I'm in the same boat. If this thing gets unplugged, I'll just stop playing WoW for a while. 100%. I'm not going to MOP. I'm not going to Anniversary. There's no fucking way I'm playing TBC, Anniversary, any of that shit. I'll literally just go do some other shit for whatever amount of time. Having now played Epoch, I don't want to play anything else that is not the same, if not better. It's really, Yubi and I threw around that term angry a few times during the last couple of podcasts. And in all honesty, the more I play Epoch, the angrier and angrier I get. Another log gets thrown on the fire with each hour that I go through Epoch. And specifically now that I am entering well into the meat of the game where the new content has now been shown to me. We said on the podcast, oh yeah, it seems like the new content doesn't really truly fire up until about level 35 onwards. That's 100% the case for all you guys that are still leveling on Epoch. If anything, I'd say really from like 40 onwards. Level 40 onwards, then you start to see all these new quests that they cooked up in every fucking zone, all the new towns, settlements, quest lines. It's all happening now. And even just since we last recorded on Saturday, when I would have been like level 44 or 45, I've now since completed Feralus and Tanarus, and my jaw's on the ground of just like, again, we keep saying the line, it doesn't take much to impress us, and that's what they've done. It feels like a lot and a little all at the same time. I mean, I look back on what I just did in Tanarus, and I'm like, fuck, what are we talking here? It was like one new settlement and maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 new quests, right? Like only 10 new quests, something like that. But it considerably changed the feel and experience of that zone. And I enjoyed it as much as, more than I ever have. It was fantastic. Feralus, the same thing, not quite to the same extent, but again, a smaller new settlement, about, 6 or 7 or 8 new quests, but considerably changes that zone and smooths everything out. I am 100% leaving zones maybe before I've finished all the quests in them, because I'm just like, if I don't leave now, I'll absolutely out-level the zone I want to go to. I went to Tanarus at 49, thinking, oh God, I've come here too late. I'm going to out-level this place. Nope, turns out it was arguably the fucking perfect time to go. 48, 49, go to Tanarus. I see all these people running around Tanarus at like 41, 42, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, go see all these other zones. You must. I've said this before on the show. You must make it your quest, your job, your task to experience as many of these new zones as you can. And the shitty but really cool thing is you're not going to be able to do them all. So you will have to go to the ones that you didn't see on an alt maybe. But like, as I'm saying, I'm just getting angrier and angrier as I do every new quest and go, that was really cool. That was really classic. And I had to figure it out, or I had to engage with the community and speak in, /1 to figure out what to do or get a hint if I needed it. It all feels like 2004, 2005, 2006 all over again, and nothing feels out of place. It's incredible. And I just start to shake, the gif of the clenched fist, Arthur or whatnot, just shaking it a little bit more at Blizzard as I go like, you fuckers, you're killing me. You haven't done this. SOD was not this. SOD was amazing, but SOD was not this. And if you don't do this next, if not better, you're fucking fucked. Anyway, that's a rant. Anyone agree, disagree, anything on that?
I agree.
I agree as well. Like, this is actually the best server to level alts on. Like, if you want to experience all the new zones, like all the new quests, not new zones, but the revamped zones, you gotta level alts. that's your only option. Like, so like having a bunch of alts on this server is going to be perfect.
But that's the awesome thing. You could like have multiple playthroughs of this and have completely different experiences 2, 3, 4 times almost, it seems. I mean, that's just something I've never been able to do in WoW. You kind of have to have the way you level is the most efficient way to level, and there's usually no other way to do it but that. And this gives you so many options to explore with different classes in the future that you could really just spend so much time.
Bierenstein, let me just jump in and say, like, I wouldn't feel bad, in all honesty. Like, you're saying you recruited some friends from Blizz servers to come and play Epoch, and now they've dropped this news and you feel horrible because you feel like it's all going away. Mate, just keep going. Like, I don't see the problem. Like they've said, they're not planning on taking the server down. You think you feel bad? Mate, I've been producing a podcast for the last month that goes out to about 4,000 or 5,000 unique players around the world that I've been screaming for the rooftop, come and play this server. If anyone should feel the most horrible, it's me. And I don't feel horrible at all. I feel great. I have no regrets whatsoever about saying to people, hey guys, there's this really cool experience. You should come and check it out. Because I'm fucking right. Because it is amazing. And all of you guys are saying, you know, yeah, Josh, we came and played with you on the server and we have no regrets. Like, it's been a fucking fantastic experience. And, you know, I was just running around again in Tanaris last night going like, I am starting to feel chemical reactions in my body and my mind is pinging in ways that I haven't felt since 2006 when I first jumped on and played vanilla. It feels amazing. It is like, and that what we keep saying is, despite the buggy mess that it is, and it is a buggy mess. You guys are right to say that. People are a little bit hyperbolic, I feel, with the new quests. Don't get me wrong. A bunch of the new quests are not working, but a bunch of them are. And, you know, I think people go, oh, yeah, fucking 75% of the new quests aren't working. No, in my experience, it's probably been about 2 new quests per zone are not working. Which is frustrating, but like, whatever, you go do the ones that are working. I don't get, you know, bent out of shape about it. There's a lot going on that needs to be fixed with this server, but despite how buggy it is, we're still playing and telling other people to come play with us. And like, for the experience is overcoming the bugginess. And I think that says so much for this server. But anyway, who else wants to chime in on this point of anger that I keep hammering home about? Do you get more and more pissy as you play Epoch?
I definitely do. It's just so easy to control RMT. We've seen all you do is just you ban people publicly and you ban buyers for good, and then no matter what the incentives are for bots, you don't have to fight with the bots or the sellers. You just go after buyers and you publicly shame them, and you ban them for good, and then everyone. It's a culture. Nobody wants to risk it.
I don't know if they can do that on the real servers, but the hit of dopamine I get every time I see the little chat message that's like, this guy got banned for hacking. This guy got banned for selling stuff. And the general chat
seeing all the get wrecked.
Yeah. Get wrecked, get wrecked. It's so good.
Get wrecked, hacker.
Yeah, in guild chat, I'm just going nuts every time they do it. It's great.
But I'm like, why couldn't Blizz do it? I know we sort of, I appreciate the hesitation going, oh, could they do this? Like, literally, if one server's doing it, I don't see why another couldn't.
I think they would have to reinstate the like GMs.
You would see so many chat bans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything else. They don't want you
I
to
think
know
that
what's
comes
going
down
on.
to a money issue, because you can ban somebody in a free server. Who cares? You're not really losing anything. But you start banning, your subs. There's a lot of your money gone, even if it is just bot accounts or whatever.
Oh yeah. So
I think that's got to at least be part of it.
No. I'm not talking about whether or not they would do it. I mean more the technical aspect of Blizzard announcing it publicly on the server as it's happening. Now, like you're saying, there would be too many. I mentioned this on the podcast before as well. There would be so many, it would be unreadable. You couldn't flood chat like that. But there's other ways you could do it. They could also not that they would, but there's always a workaround. You could, weekly put up like a fucking list of shame on your website of here's all the names of everyone, control effort if you want for everyone we've banned. You could have a separate chat channel in the default UI that if, for whatever fucking reason, if people wanted to, you could just scroll through and see who's been banned in the last hour. There are ways to do it, but not necessarily like ways that are very practical.
Oh, they could absolutely do if they wanted to.
But I do agree that, and we're going to do a really big podcast on this coming up in the really near future, guys. I promise you. The ridiculously positive effect that this has had on the server. There's 3 or 4 really big points about Epoch that we scream about because we feel like Blizzard won't be able to do it, that makes Epoch successful. It's, like you just said, the active and very public humiliation of the banning of bots and hackers. That's great. The worldwide nature of the server, the fact that this is one region, one server, it's global, the server never sleeps, we're all playing together, that is like considerably in the server's favor. Look, I'll get in a very, very heated debate about this one day, but I still stand by this third point that cross-faction is fucking huge for this server. It is one of the other big reasons it is succeeding so well. People want, and Yubi is one of them. And I think that just quietly, Yubi is coming around on the old cross-faction point. He was absolutely against the World of Warcraft. This whole IP is based on factions hating each other and all that shit. And then we see what happens when you just stop giving a fuck about that kind of stuff and seeing what it does for the gameplay. And people are loving it. And there's going to be a huge argument, a huge one coming up about this later on when I can already see it, guys. All the guys that didn't play Epoch are going to they're going to get so angry and they're going to get real harsh on this one, going, no cross-faction. You can never have cross-faction in World of Warcraft. It fucking ruins the RP. It ruins my immersion. I don't want to see a fucking dwarf standing next to me in my dungeon, blah, blah, blah. And then we fucking see it on Epoch and go, hey, cunts, we just played the server that had it. Turns out it's a fucking toothless tiger. Shut the fuck up. That's just me. Does anyone feel that way?
Oh, totally. And it's not even, if you want to be like a lore purist or a lore nerd, like, what about Warcraft 3? What about every single expansion where Horde Alliance put aside their differences and come together to fight the big bad boss? Like, it's fine.
I'm telling you, you're going to start hearing a line from me a lot in the future of this podcast, because when we start discussing what Blizzard should and should not include in their Classic Plus, fucking put a penny in the jar for every time you hear Josh say this. Did you play Epoch? Did you play Epoch? Because whenever someone throws something out there that we've lived through on Epoch, and they're like, I don't think this should be in Classic Plus, or I think this should be in Classic Plus, I'm going to go, did you play Epoch? And they'll say no. And I'll go, then shut the fuck up. Sorry, that's just... I will
say cross-faction is growing on me. I was very lukewarm to the concept, but I didn't really have a choice. So just, kind of sucked it up. But as things have gone on, I have seen the benefits of it, and I really do like the ability of, hey, it didn't matter which faction you rolled on, we get to play together. I like to be able to find people easier for dungeons, which is, gameplay mechanic, being able to group with people. I like that a lot more. I'm still a little hesitant on being able to communicate with people who are ganking me or I am killing. So that is a little...
That's a wrinkle. That's a wrinkle
right
I don't love either. I'm with you on that one. That's a weird wrinkle that needs some form of workaround.
Yeah, maybe they're like, you couldn't communicate with somebody for like 10 minutes after you fought them or something.
Yeah, like if they appear in your combat log, like you get like it's momentary...
mute.
Yeah, mute.
Something
Yeah.
like
One of my
maybe
favorite
something like
things
that.
about League of Legends is that you can like all chat the enemy team. I think it's so cool that I can like talk to the guy who I'm fighting. I don't know.
It's interesting. it leads to a lot of, I mean, look, this is, it really is just a forum on how you feel about talking shit and toxicity in your video games. A lot of people love it. Like I said, that I always reference the people that were born and bred in the COD lobbies. That's their bread and butter of like, this is what you do. It's a competitive game. You talk a bit of shit. You flame each other and then you walk away. And that's the fun of gaming. Look, if people want that in, I'm not particularly going to like go too hard on it. Because I'll just choose, that's fine, I'll just choose not to engage with it, whatever. I'm kind of done with my world PvP days anyway. But, you know, I do also respect the other side of the argument that it can embolden the truly toxic player to, like, really harass people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, it just feels, it's probably also because it feels different too. Like, we've never done that before. So it just maybe feels different than if I was playing a different game and I could communicate. I may not find it as abnormal in that situation, just because my monkey brain tells me, wow, we don't talk to the other faction. They're just, you know, this other thing out there. So that's just some of the few things kind of working through my head right now. I am also a bit on the lore too. I do like having the two separate factions lore-wise, but it's growing on me. It is growing on me.
I love to hear it. And that's the kind of account that people need to hear, quite frankly. Like, you know, I'm just we'll get to the cross faction thing later.
I would say don't knock it before you try it.
Well, that's going to be my whole point. Yeah, sorry, go.
Can I ask a question? Have you played Warcraft 3? Like, there are little missions where you're playing.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, almost
night
all
elves, and you're helping orcs and humans.
Oh yeah,
all fighting together.
Almost all the lore and expansions have us coming together to fight the big bag at the end. It's like pretty much, I don't know, 8 out of 10 endings of expansions at this point or something like that. So I definitely get that wise, but I really like the whole idea of like, hey, it's two separate factions going at each other. You know, this kind of mentality of us against them. And I like that idea overall. So I'm still a little interested of like, okay, well, technically we're kind of friends, but we could fight each other, but we're kind of friends. So I don't know.
Yeah. Do you feel that having the separate quest lines in capital cities and still being able to world PvP does enough to like protect that for you?
It's more of it's kind of hard to describe. It's more of an abstract thought and feeling where it's like, hey, there's the other side. They are dangerous to me. It was also because I used to roll on PvP servers too, so it's a little different. So they're the other side. They are dangerous to me. I have to be careful when I'm around them and engaging with them because at any point they could fight me and kill me. Same thing, I could fight and kill them. So that has always been my logic, especially coming from PvP servers. I think coming from a PvE server perspective, it's a different thought process. So it's really just trying to reframe my head around this and seeing if it's something I could live with long term. I think it will be fine long term for me, but it's just something where it's just been ingrained in me for 15 fucking years that, you know, Horde and Alliance, we fight each other, and to try to go back on that is really tough.
It's yeah, for me, just my 2 cents is we still absolutely have the ability to fight each other. So I've got no drama with the like I pick and choose when you're my friend and when you're not. I think that option works for some reason on Epoch, but I mean that's just me. Hey, Laz, can I just ask real quick? We see you just running your body back to BRD. Did you see something fun and new on that boss you were attempting?
Yeah, actually, a lot of the bosses were challenging. Phalanx was very challenging. We had to do like a really weird strat. It wasn't really weird; just had to stand in a certain place because he did a lot of AoE damage. And we attempted a boss that was way higher than us. The Salamander Fire boss, I forget his name. But he's got new mechanics that we haven't really figured out yet, but so it's more than just a tank and spank. It was fun.
I can tell you from the healing perspective, holy shit, is there so much more AoE damage.
I was just a BRD on the whole looks really challenging and fun. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of challenge just for challenge sake, but some of the new mechanics are fun. Some are overtuned, like some are not. But
we went as far as we could.
Yeah, overall, I do like some of the changes. I think they have more work to do. It's definitely not a polished finished product yet.
Fair enough. Expired. Thumbs up, thumbs down from you. The BRD experience.
I'm loving it. I mean, I like BRD as a dungeon anyway. It's just so big and so long. The dungeon,
That's what she said.
But no, it was like it was nice to see like most of the bosses have got new mechanics. It's making us think like if we had Phalanx or whatever his name is in the bar, the golem boss, and we wiped a few times trying to get used to the new mechanic of that, and eventually we managed to nail it just now. But yeah, I mean, I like challenging content. It's doable if you do it the right way, but it's challenging enough to make you think about what you're doing, which is the aspect I like. And a lot of these dungeons we've had, like when we did Maradon a few days ago, that was the same. Seeing new stuff with the bosses and stuff, and you're thinking, oh, because I think one of the bosses that surprised us was Noxion, whatever his name is.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I got to see it the other day, yeah.
Oh, like, it's a nice fight, but it's a horrible fight. If you don't know it's happening, it's horrible.
Yes, I think we had one of our new warriors in the guild sort of just stand in the fire and die a horrible death, and there was something that maybe they weren't used to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Go for it.
Well, I was just going to add, because I've been healing through all these dungeons, which I've never normally healed, so I don't know if it's just because I'm a bad healer or if it's just really tough. But I like don't stand in fire mechanics because there's a very obvious way to avoid it, and it's good on the players. It's like a little check of like, hey, can you like stop tunnel visioning for a minute and just move over? But the BRD has had a lot of just like, oh, I'm just going to do AoE to the whole group kind of mechanics.
Unavoidable AoE,
yeah. Those are a lot less fun because it doesn't really feel like there's anything you can do. Like it turned out with the Phalanx, you could LOS it, which thank God this fifth rando in our group told us about it ahead of time. We probably wouldn't be able to have taken him down without the strat of like, well, if you tank him here, then the range can LOS here and the melee can go there, you know? But like that boss we just attempted, maybe it'll just take a few more looks at it, but it's just, as the healer, it's like if there's nothing I can do to not take damage as the healer, it's just very frustrating.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Check. It's a controversial opinion, and I appreciate that not a lot of WoW Classic fans will be into this, and I'm not saying Classic Plus should have this. I'm just saying what I like. I am a big fan in MMOs of the Final Fantasy XIV way of doing it, and I know retail sort of does this halfway. Final Fantasy XIV is just Dance Dance Revolution for your character, avoiding incredibly well-lit, highlighted zones on the boss fight map of where the fire is about to be. So you have like different indicators of like, this half of the room is about to be sprayed in a dragon's breath. You've got about 2.5 seconds to get out of it. Well, it doesn't give you the time, but you work it out. And then there's the circles that just start popping up everywhere when like mass bombs start getting dropped. And what I'm getting at is I know retail does this, but they don't do it. This is more a stylistic choice or preference by the players, where do you like the more the subtlety of WoW retail, where the circles aren't as obvious and it kind of blends into the environment a little bit better, maybe increasing your immersion? Or are you okay with the sort of, wildly animated, so fucking obvious you couldn't miss it, like bright blue AoE circles that appear on your screen in Final Fantasy XIV? I liked 14. I liked just really bright circles that completely, arguably broke the immersion and said, do not stand here, something is coming. And your character is constantly moving through fights. And it engaged me. It's part of the reason I loved 14. Dungeons and raids were a blast because you're always avoiding shit while having to pump out your DPS or heals at the same time. But that's just me. And I appreciate that Classic players will be like, no, I want to park my character, stand on the same spot and just do my rotation. That's cool. That's something as well. It's just, I know that when it comes to, like you say, the unavoidable AoE damage, is a mechanic that sometimes you need to implement to make sure that the challenge is there on the healer a little bit. But yeah, I do prefer of just knowing where the fire is, even though it's pretty obvious in WoW Classic where the fire is. Generally, it's a fire. But yeah, that's just me.
I need things bright. I'm getting my eyes are getting worse in my older age, so I definitely need bright, shiny things in front of me.
Everybody uses DBM, right? So like you're getting those audio cues anyway.
Yeah.
In 14, is the indicator like standardized across all the bosses, or are they still thematic to like?
No, it's standardized.
Individual
So they have a variety of different indicators. They're all standardized. You know what like a static fire is. Like I said, you know what like I haven't played in so long. Like an incoming wave of things is, what spread bombs are. You know what a soak has a particular indicator as well when you need to stack. Things like that.
Oh, so you even know kind of what the mechanic is before it even happens.
Yes, so literally stack has like, it puts a particular marker about, like a player gets a debuff. Let's say it's like a living bomb that for whatever reason you all need to stand on that player to divide the damage. That player who gets the debuff gets a incredibly obvious like, skull type marker above their head, and you watch the whole raid without being told will just converge and stack on that player.
That sounds so nice for like LFR type situations.
Oh,
where you've got
you have
that
no
never
idea.
Seen it, and you like the visual clarity is just instantly there. You can probably make the fights a lot harder and more varied because they
do, and the fights get pretty intense because it's like reading sheet music. Everyone knows what the 6 or 7 indicators mean, so they just literally, like you said, it's perfect for pugs because 90% of the pug knows what to do. Even if they're terrible players, they mostly know that means run here, that means run away from that, and they all just do it.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Check out, watch videos of Final Fantasy 14 raids. Sorry, go for it.
About this, the highlighting of area of effects, like, because I don't run DBM, I don't run weak auras, at least not now, but I did the new Dead Mines, the revamp Dead Mines, and the Mr. Smite fight, where the ship fires the guns at you. I actually kind of liked that I had to keep an eye on the ship, like where are the guns firing at. Didn't have anything to notice me before. Like you hear the guns going off, so obviously something's coming, but you still have to look at the ship, like where the projectiles going to land. We did have some bad RNG though, and we got stunned like at the same time as the cannons fired, so we couldn't move out of the fire. But that's life. But I enjoy that actually.
I'm like I said, I'm not calling for this to come to Classic Plus or any form of WoW or anything. I'm not saying just do what Final Fantasy 14 does. All I'm saying is I know that's what I prefer and that's what I like. Guys, we'll go back to I guess, there's only so much to talk about with this legal news. Like we said, fuck. We've been told what we've been told. They're going to keep going with everything. I guess we'll just talk about it a little bit more. Do you guys truly think that, the Epoch developers aren't going anywhere and they will just keep making stuff for this game in the shadows?
I absolutely do. I think that this is kind of a big smokescreen, and that the people who've been working on this project for 4 years, looking forward to developing these raids, looking for people to play these raids, aren't going to abandon it so easily. So I definitely think that they're just going to say, hey, we want to work on our stuff behind the shadows. We were already kind of now behind the shadows now that Ascension took the public face of everything.
Yeah.
So it's really just us turning off the website and closing the Discord, I think, at this point. And just letting Ascension take all the heat and flack for everything. And yeah.
Very good. Anyone else on this one? Do you expect them to go away or stay put? development-wise?
No, I think they're going to stay put. Like, I mean, they've spent 5 years on this project. They're not just going to leave it be. There's no way. There's no way. There's too much time investment.
Yeah, and it's not like my point before was, and it's not
How
like they
traceable
just.
is the
It's not
money?
like they just found out overnight that this was illegal. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no.
Sorry, someone else is going to jump in there. Go for it.
My question is how traceable is the money, right? Because I think Tsunami had mentioned in guild chat like that K-Totes quit his job or their job like to work on this full time like recently. I don't know if that's true or not, but just thinking of being in the perspective of like I just quit my job, right? Like what are my options? My options are either I go begging back to my old job, or I got to keep working on this on the sly, but then how am I getting paid on the sly?
Well, as people were pointing out, I hope he got that money up front from Ascension in the deal.
Yeah. Me too.
So, look, like I said, there's only so much to talk about with the legal side of things, guys, because we don't know what's going to happen. But like we've talked about what we think's going to happen. The server stays up and keeps going for now. I'm going to keep going. It sounds like a lot of you are going to keep going. Is anyone aware of anyone that like? Did you guys have any compulsion to stop? Do you know of anyone that was like, that's it. No, that's enough to scare me off?
I saw a couple people in the Countdown Discord saying that they were going to take a few days off and kind of see if it blows over. My initial reaction was a little bit panicky, but has been more stabilized by the way that everyone else is reacting. I'm a little more worried about the overall server population, though. I mean, there's 5,500 people online right now, so still plenty of people to play. But I have a little bit of PTSD left over from Season of Discovery, where I took a few phases off, and when I came back, it was impossible to find groups for lower level quests and old raids and stuff. So now I kind of got a fire under my ass to get through as much of the content as I can while people are actively doing it.
I think the thing that will save this server will be obviously the custom content. If, like I said, if word starts going around, and we haven't had the bulk of the player base hit the new content yet. I would say the average player right now is like level 30, 30 to 35, let's say. I'm not sure. But when that bulkhead starts reaching 40 plus and really starts getting their teeth sunk into the new content, word's going to spread around. And I think like I'm with you. Like, we are now only, 3 weeks from launch, and we kind of laugh at that figure of 60, 50, 40, 30,000 people. Oh my God, there's going to be 1 million players on Epoch. No, it's settled right down. It's like you say, 5,000 online, maybe 10,000, 15,000, 18,000 total, who fucking knows. But it's not like a bonkers server by any stretch of the imagination. But if that content delivers, like we say, Turtle WoW started from nothing. It had like 200 players for like its first 18 months or something. If Epoch's starting point is like 5, 10, 15,000 and it goes from strength to strength and they do happen to keep making good content, like it could conceivably grow considerably from here, but who's to say?
Yeah, and still like 5,000 people on one server is more than enough players for it to be active and grow and play. I mean, especially when it's cross-faction as well.
I think at this point it's more about new players starting, though, because people kind of fall off all the time a couple weeks into a server. And, the meme is like, is it too late to start? But, now if you're a month in and there's a cease and desist letter and the project lead dipped, is it too late to start?
I'd still confidently start. I don't know. Like I said, the most important piece of news from all this was the Ascension team coming out saying, shoulder shrug, we don't care, life goes on, server's not going anywhere.
And it was so fast.
Yeah, it was very fast. They had that once fucking locked and loaded. So, with that kind of confidence from them, then yeah, sure. I mean, I'll keep going. Like I said, I was going to keep going anyway until it shut down, but let's do it. Guys, look, I'll segue off the legal stuff because, like I said, there's really only so much to talk about, and I think we've pretty much covered it. Arcos, are you still there with us, my friend?
Yeah.
Oh, big
yawn. Sorry.
Big yawn. No, that's all right. Look, we won't keep you up too long. I want to touch base with you, big guy, and I just want to say, are you okay? Like, how are you going? Has Epoch rocked you to your very core?
No, I wouldn't say that. There's definitely some stuff that's annoying or like unexpected. Or
Like
whatever.
like leveling?
No, like dear lord. Like 2 hours ago, I made a stack of bandages and then I relooked and it was gone. I'm like, where the fuck did my bandages go?
I
Just
needed
small
those.
bits like that.
I need them to live.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's just random silly things sometimes that don't work. But
I thought you were ready to quit.
No.
All right.
I've not had anything bad like that happen.
Can I
like warrior leveling is always cancer, so it's just how do you say par for the course.
I'll tell my favorite Arcos story to your face. I think we mentioned it very briefly on the show on Saturday. I told the listeners Arcos because I know you don't listen to the show, so I'll tell you now. I was saying that my favorite encapsulation of who you are as a person of all time happened when, someone in the guild said, you said to the guild, I'm going to go to Dead Mines. And someone replied to you, cool, what do you need? And you replied, quests, as opposed to tank heals or DPS.
Yeah. The other someone was a warrior, and I was like, is this guy really asking like what items do you need from them? Like, I don't give a fuck about the items. I just want to get the quests done.
No, but it was the robot Arcos of like literally. We said on the podcast, 99.9% of WoW players know when they're talking in the context of a dungeon run, and someone says, "What do you need?" They know they're talking about. Oh, do you have a healer? Do you need a healer? Do you need a couple of DPS? What are you looking for? And you replied with quests, which just proves to me you are a robot sent back in time to just destroy WoW servers.
T800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all going fine until Arcos joined.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry?
Everything fell to shit when you joined the server.
Yeah, true. Actually, fuck.
I'm just happy that for once people don't get to say that Josh ruined the server. We can say Arcos ruined the server.
Yeah.
Fucking Arcos.
I might make that my goal in Epoch, actually.
There you go. Look, tell us about your warrior. Have you noticed all the funny little bugs, and have you been raging? Or not raging, so to speak?
No, I mean, I'm not sure I've like ran into a proper bug, but charge feels weird. It feels very cartoony, and it breaks on any type of line of sight. Even if it's just like a tree that you can walk through, it won't go through, which is annoying. And like playing Salt and Annie and Epoch, like going in between them, it's really noticeable that when you're trying to charge something that's like very, like, it's not too close, but it is close, but there's a small rock in between that you can easily jump over, like in one jump, and it just won't go through. It's very annoying. And execute doesn't work, so
right,
or like it sometimes works and sometimes it just does fuck all, and you get no rage when you're being hit, so yeah, you don't really have rage to use abilities.
Okay. Anyone else? Sorry, keep going, Arcos.
No, just that's it. The warrior is the best class, but it's 8 to level, and that's not different here.
Okay. Anyone else notice any funny class shit over the last few days? Nope, that's all right. Anyone want to shout out any new content or dungeon shit without too many spoilers they've seen over the last few days? I'll shout out some things. Like I said, like get your asses to Tanarus. I did a quest last night that was just really fun in terms of, there's a mind control aspect, and you guys who have done it will know exactly what I'm talking about. Just simple, dumb, fun, very classic, very new, completely making fantastic use of spaces that we had no reason to go to before. And that's really the clap on the back that I want to give these devs is they've gone through every zone from level 40 onwards, and they've just picked out parts of the map and gone, why there are all these mobs here and nothing to do with them? Why? Let's give them something to do. Here's an empty bit of space. There's like this whole like quadrant of the map that just has no fucking life or flavor. Let's put a settlement there. They've really fleshed out things so well to the point of like, I'm really glad they didn't just like expand Gadget Zan or whatever and just like build on what was already there. No, they've filled in the spaces on the canvas, and it feels fucking amazing. Like this really feels quicker. Like I have zoomed through my 40s. I feel like I was 40 like yesterday, and I'm 51 now, or just about to ding 51. 45 through 51. Like my playtime is still long because I'm still doing professions and whatnot and being a dickhead. But like when I actually knuckle down and start questing, that experience bar does fill up noticeably quicker than anything era or vanilla related in the past that I've played through. Are you guys still feeling that quicker experience?
Oh, it's going by so fast. I keep thinking that I'm like 44 or 43, and I look and I'm like, I'm 46. I keep forgetting that I'm actually further ahead than I am, and I'm still doing dungeons, still exploring, still doing other stuff, and it's still going so smoothly.
100%.
Yeah, I can't overstate how good the leveling experience has been as a human. Just Maisie's basically said like, hey, we're not leaving the Eastern Kingdoms until we're forced to. And we're sitting at 41, 42, and we're still doing the same thing. Every zone feels fleshed out. It feels like you don't actually have to leave the zone to go somewhere else and then come back. It's a pretty great experience.
I've been genuinely sitting around going like, you guys know I loved SOD. I loved the leveling experience in SOD. But they're very, very different. And so that's why it is hard to compare, because it's kind of like doing the apples and oranges thing, even though they're both like, vanilla based, twists on the old school leveling experience. It's so hard to, I was sitting there going, which did I prefer? Did I prefer SOD or do I prefer Epoch? And it's just too hard. I just think it's like, it really is like thrusting different games upon people and saying, what do you like better? But the Epoch leveling experience, like I say, has been so good. And again, I'll just sort of say to people, even in spite of this news coming out that, Blizz is going in the lawsuit, or sorry, the cease and desist after Epoch, like if you haven't rolled on this server, still give it a go. Like you guys need to see this to know what a good C+ feels like, and so that you can gauge whatever Blizzard offers us next against. You need to know, please play this so that you fucking know what a good version of C+ is, please. And then when we have all these arguments in 3, 6, 9 months on the show about what should and should not be in C+, I want you all to be like, yeah, I played Epoch, so I have a good like basis upon which to, put forward my arguments. I don't want to be arguing against people that are just going off of paper-based arguments. On paper, I don't think this will work on a Blizzard server. Well, we played it in theory and it fucking worked on Epoch. So what do you want us to do? Just please give it a go.
Yeah, I did Wailing Caverns like a couple of days ago for the first time, and I was blown away. I just thought to myself, like, why didn't we get this in SOD? Why? It was so good. It was literally one of the best dungeons, or at least the prettiest dungeons I've ever done.
Well, I agree, and this is where I'm going to have to come back to old fucking Krampus, Arcos. And Arcos threw in another very interesting little tidbit in the Discord the other day, where he's like, I'm going to try to do my best Arcos impression, where he goes, I don't know why you guys are so fucking excited about this new Wailing Caverns. It's just the same old shit that was fucking just average. Why are you guys cooming all over the place about this? Arcos, was that a fair impression?
Kind of, yeah. No, I went in there and I was like, you know, the visuals are very much more like hentai weeb color palette and right, but that was kind of it. There wasn't much more new shit there.
Are you on drugs?
About.
They completely redid the map and gave you new bosses.
Is it just
Yeah, like one of the bosses did something. All the other bosses were just like a trash mob that just had a different name. And it's just as confusing a place to be in. Like you get lost just as much as the previous one. And the visuals are more like Korean or whatever, right?
Okay, so you're saying it's like the Malibu Stacy and she's just got a new hat.
I'm saying it's Malibu's. Yeah, sure. New hat, new.
But she's got a new hat. You're accusing us all of saying, but she's got a new hat. I know this reference is flying over your head, but believe me, it's
accusing you
out.
of saying, "Wow, her hat is amazing."
Yes,
and I'm saying she was wearing a hat last week. She's wearing a hat this week. They're different color. Who the fuck cares?
Okay. Now, to all of you on this call, I want you to please, I invite you, he can withstand it, eviscerate this man for these shit takes.
You just basically said all pixels are pixels and I don't care.
Yeah, I think Arcos
argument is that.
What Arcos needs is basically a Wailing Caverns Mythic Plus with keys.
I'm not saying that it's wrong to be like, yo, they took a dungeon and they made it different, and I find that really cool. That's fine. But I thought they did something insane, and then I stepped in, and it was a different type of map that was still very confusing and a paint job. I'm not saying it's like bad. I'm just saying I didn't understand the cooming about it.
I have learned one thing about you, Arcos, over the last 2 weeks, and I will give you the opportunity to defend yourself and answer for this, charge of a crime right now. I am fairly convinced you really don't like World of Warcraft, and you really, like, if a game were delivered to you and it was World of Warrior raid logs, all you do when you log in is it puts you instantly in a raid, and you get to get a score at the end that you then log against other players, and it's got a leaderboard every week that you check in on. You would play that game for the rest of your life and say it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everything outside of that instance portal of the raid, you think is trash.
No, if that was true, I would be playing Retail or Mop, right? Which is the instant game. I love being outside in Classic Vanilla, especially. Like, most of my time in like 1920 Classic was just spent running up and down Fellwood, herping, and doing world PvP. Like, most of my game time hours were that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really loved it.
I can't believe I'm going to be defending Arcos, but I think we might just be suffering from, expectation setting, right? Like, all of us, we went in, we had no expectations, and we were like, fuck, I had no expectations. This was great. But Arcos came in after we had all, talked it up a bunch on the Discord, and I can see how it didn't. Like, I think it was great. I really loved it. I thought I'd take it over the original Wailing Caverns any day of the week. But it is still Wailing Caverns. It is still a level 20-ish dungeon.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the movie, gone to a movie after all your fucking friends have been like, "Oh my God, it's the best fucking movie you've ever seen." And it's been hyped up to the point that, you watch it and
Right,
go, I
and
mean,
it
it was okay.
Hype can make you disappointed with an A- movie,
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hate any defense of Arcos as well. He's a piece of shit, but I appreciate it. Now, Jordan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I started 2 weeks late on this server, so I got to come in after listening to you guys hype it up on the podcast and build up my whole, leveling for 20 levels, trying to get there so I could see this cool new content. And it was exactly as cool as I thought it was going to be. The dungeon was absolutely beautiful. I liked it that there was little skips to get back to Sorry, my daughter's
You're okay. You're
little
okay.
skips to get back to places after you, finished the bosses. More than one of them had new mechanics. Crush had new mechanics, and so did the Fairy Dragon. And I ran it again, and the second time it wasn't confusing. The layout's actually way better than the old one.
Well, there you go. I also enjoy a point in the "fuck you Arcos" column. Very good. Very well said. So, can we conclude? Fuck you, Arcos. Arcos, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I second the motion.
Very good. Arcos, did you also enjoy that? I think in the quickest decision flipping of all time, you managed to get the soundboard enabled on the Countdown Discord and then disabled within 48 hours.
Yeah, that was mission accomplished.
You're bizarre. As soon as we all said, anyone who asks for the soundboard to be opened is a red flag, and you became everything we thought you were with your weird obsession with the soundboard.
I proved your hypothesis correct. Yeah.
Exactly. You're an odd duck,
Did it
but
get
I love you,
disabled?
sir.
I muted it within that first 10 minutes of him fucking around.
Oh, he would not stop. It was insane.
It was a glorious time.
Oh my God. Anyway, guys, look, I'm not going to keep you all day. We've already gone an hour and a half, and pretty much this was just an emergency pod on this one issue, and we've covered it. I'll just let you guys say, speak now or forever hold your silence. Anything you want to say about your last few days in Epoch that needs to be said? I've flirted with the concept of respecking and going destro, but I decided not to because I'll just, everyone's like, fucking... I just do think that the mana issues will be considerable, and even though it's fun and do what you want, I just want to get to 60. And, like I said, I'm almost 51. I'm about to step foot into... Fuck, where am I going? God, where was I going next? Fellwood? I think I was going to go to Fellwood for a level, and then Yubi says we've got to get our asses to Badlands at 52 to do this epic new... Blasted Lands. That's what I mean. We've got to get to Blasted Lands at 52 to do this epic new fucking open world dungeon that takes about 2 hours or whatever. So that'll be fun. And then I think I'll do... I have to do Ashara after Blasted Lands. Apparently Ashara is fucking great. And then I want to go do Western and Winter Spring. What are you guys?
I said, don't sleep on Burning Steps.
Oh, I'm probably going to skip it.
Quest hub. I'm skipping all that shit you said. I'm just doing Burning Steps and dungeons right now, and I'm having a good time.
I'm not going to be able.
It also helps that it's right near BRD, so whenever we inevitably form our dungeon group, I'm like already there questing, and it's like, all right, yeah, I can fuck off from doing this quest and just.
Well, also there's but there's all these zones, you can't do them all. Ungoro's apparently amazing. Burning Steps now you're recommending. Like fucking, we literally have to go to them all, and we're not going to be able to. And I've even talked about Silithus.
It worked out nicely because me, Axel, Laz, and Atone were all in Burning Steps. It was like, yeah, we do Dragon King Menace so we can get the next year quest chain on the go, and then like we'll go BRD. It was like, yeah, cool. It just took us a while to get there, but there's so many people there killing the dragons. It was like near impossible to find the 15 whelps that we needed to kill.
Yeah, my whole thing expired has not to let be, and I've probably played more than I would have liked to, but I'm like, don't let these pricks fucking create too big of a gap from me, because I need to touch base with you, Axel, Laz, that's the guys I want to keep running with.
We're missing that fifth person right now in our group. That's what it is. There's four of us where we should be, and then we're just missing that fifth person because you've just dropped off a little bit.
I
know. Well, I'm only two levels.
DPS.
I'm only 2 levels behind. But yeah, I think Laz is 53 question mark now. I'm about to ding 51.
Yeah, we just hit 53.
Yeah.
53.
It won't really matter
then
because
we'll
in
be in the
4 or
next
5
PRD
levels, 4 or 5 levels, I'll be able to come to like the max level dungeons with you anyway, arguably. But yeah, we shall see. Sorry, someone was going to say something.
No, I was just saying you'll be in the next BRD run then, hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. I'll see
right.
how I'll get to 51, maybe 52 today and work from there. But look, still having a blast. Warlock is still fantastic. Loving that no one is playing it. It makes me feel special. Guys, anything else before we wind this one up? Let me know. Nope. Okay.
Yeah,
All
one more
yeah,
thing.
go for it, Expire. Oh, sorry, Jordan.
Our class isn't getting off that easy. I'm going to personally challenge you to go do Dead Mines, die, ride that mine cart back from the beginning, and tell me that's not the best thing they have ever added to a dungeon.
There you go, Arcos.
I haven't done that much yet, and I'm not intending to. I'll believe you at some point when I try it. I don't doubt that it's cool though.
I reckon you'll quit by next week.
You think? Why do you think that?
We shall see. All right,
I didn't log in for like 5 days because I was just busy, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I'm not treating it. This isn't my main game. Like I'm not no-lifing this.
No. You've got to keep pumping those logs in sod that no one's playing anymore, so that you can say you're the best in the world.
Yep.
The best and the only one.
Yes.
You get 100 parse if you're the only person parsing?
That's what he's going for.
No. No. And that's not what I'm going for. I don't care about the parse.
I don't care.
You can ask Soren about the parse. Let me see.
All right. Guys, we'll wind it up there. Thanks so much to all of you for taking part in this one. That was a lot of fun. And we'll see you again maybe on Saturday. Maybe after that. We'll figure it out. But more to talk about on the Countdown Guild's ventures with Epoch. Guys, I'll say this much. Look, again, if you're not sure, just /who anyone in Countdown, ask for an invite. Look, we would, how do I put this? The guys might ask you like what the password is. If you listen to the show, you're in. We're a little bit warier of people who are just discovering Countdown now and think this is like, oh, this is some Zerg streamer guild. Like, I want in. While it is come one, come all, it's not really that kind of guild, guys. And I don't want to gatekeep and be like, if you didn't know about the show before, you're not in. But like, we have a certain culture here. As you can hear on the podcast, we have a certain kind of player. These are the kind of guys and girls that we like to run with. Like, the newbies are less likely to maybe, I don't know, like be the kind of players we are. We're not so sure. So like, just, wait until you've heard a few Countdown episodes before you ask for a Countdown Guild invite, because maybe you're not into us. But like, yeah, yeah, go for it.
Our little rule of thumb has been, since we've been 4 people a lot, right? When we grab somebody in, if we give them the Discord and they're willing to just jump in and talk with us, or at least listen in, that's at least a good start.
100%. And I love finding those players. And we've met friends like Expired Tuner and whatnot like that along the way. But it's such a shit thing to say, because I know people don't want to do it. But the guys that don't want to get in voice and don't say anything in the party, I'm a little bit more wary of them. And I am a little bit warier of, I have been publishing these podcasts on YouTube, and I don't love like the complete random on YouTube who's like, because I had one of these the other day, who's like, oh, I have no fucking idea what this guild is or who you guys are or what really, I saw 5 minutes of your podcast and I decided to join the guild. I'm a bit like, like we're not a Zerg guild, man.
I think they'd get bored of us.
Hopefully they'll get bored of us.
Takes just 3 weeks to become an elitist guildmaster.
Yeah, I'm already there. Let's do it. No, fuck it. If people keep asking people for the password, when they ask you for an invite to the guild and gauge them by their response to see whether on, because we're at the 300 mark now. I am really wary of blowing that up too much more. Like, I want to kind of know that it's listeners coming in, and I don't want to turn into the dead shit Zerg guild, because Zerg guilds are the worst thing on every server, and we're starting to sort of maybe dangerously encroach on that territory.
A friend of mine asked me earlier tonight if I wanted to join his private server guild, who's been together since like Elysium. I said, no, I'm in a cesspool guild and I'm going to stay there until I'm level 60.
Yeah, accurate. I like it. Very good. Join Team Cesspool. One of us. If you're a long-time listener, please just hit us up. Guys, the guild is fantastic. Everything's going really, really well. I'll just say as well, like, look, we did have a listener leave the guild yesterday who was like, fuck, man, like, none of you guys, like, I'm level 40 almost, and I haven't run a single dungeon with a countdown person. And I'll always just sort of say, like, guys, you somewhat have to take the bull by the horns with this game. Like, there are so many players out there who expect the content to come to them. And this is, I've ranted about this a lot with World PvP in the past, where there's a lot of people who bitch about World PvP and go, oh, this server's shit. There's no World PvP on this server, because they don't see the 100v100 fights around every corner. And I'm like, number one, that's not how World PvP works. Number two, mate, if you want World PvP content, go and start picking fights with people like that. You are the master of your own fucking destiny here. Go and pick fights with people. You start the 1v1 that will snowball into the 2v2, that will snowball into the 5v5, and so on and so forth. You become a bully. You get amongst it and create your own content. People don't want to do that because they're terrified of losing in PvP, but also they just want to be the player that gets to drive by the big fight, hit one button that kills the person at 5%, have a laugh, snicker, and say, well, PvP is back on the menu, boys. Please create your own content. And by that, I mean, like, in the Countdown Guild, yeah, if you just say in guild chat, looking for more SM, and you don't get a reply, and there's, 30 people online, but only 2 within your level range, like, that's going to happen. So please whisper people, organize with people via the Discord, offline. Hey, mate, couldn't help but notice you're 35, I'm 35. Would you like to do a fucking dungeon tomorrow? Yeah, that sounds great. Whisper people in game. Hey, mate, would you be interested in fucking healing this dungeon? Yeah, sure. No dramas. Just like, you've got to get proactive. Don't just wait for, there are people that just want to be in Zerg guilds, like I said, with the 500 people in the guild where they just write in guild chat, looking for more SM, and it's basically like advertising in /4 and the party forms that way. That's great. Don't get me wrong. But like, sometimes you do need to be a bit more involved. Just please do that. Don't judge the guild by no one replied to my guild message. It's not really necessarily how it works. Sorry, does that strike a chord with anyone?
Yeah, I just want to add, don't fear failure. Like, I feel like oftentimes people are concerned about like joining a group because they they don't want to be a drag on the team. I mean, and having been dragging down these other 3 people for a while and nobody complaining, it's failure is fun.
I mean, as a good example, a random shaman that we had in our BRD group wasn't a toxic person at all. Was generally nice and very patient, and although we wiped a few times and we died a few times, didn't complain once.
And no, he was. They were there to go the full run. They would have made it to Emperor if we were capable of it.
That's something that I kind of you've reminded me I should mention. Like, I have seen a lot of Reddit posts about Epoch talking about like how horribly toxic of a server it is, and this is the most racist fucking server I've ever seen. All these guys are so toxic, all these players are assholes. I got kicked from group X, I got kicked from group Y, people only want paladins to tank, blah 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 blah, and saying this server is trash, you're all so fucked, blah 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 blah. everyone in the Countdown, 99% of people I feel like in the Countdown guild and in the Countdown Discord are saying like, I don't know what fucking game you're playing, but we haven't seen any of that. Now, I've said already on the podcast in the past, yes, okay, I'm a little bit tainted in my view because I've left the LFG channel. I don't sit there and world chat and listen to all these fucking, 11-year-olds talk politics to me. Like, I just opt out of that, okay? So I don't get exposed to any of that. But the player behavior in game that I have seen for the vast majority of times has been perfectly normal, acceptable, if not cordial, like you guys just described. I have had nothing but like positive experiences in PvE dungeons with people. Everyone is nice. No one's been a cunt. They just, you wipe, no one says anything. Everyone gets through the dungeon. Everyone's happy, right? There's of course going to be like PvP toxicity, like we said, with the ability to talk to each other after a kill. I'm not flagged. I'm not war moded, so I don't really get involved with any of that. This community, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. Of course, all that disgusting racism and bullshit does exist, but like when you actually, okay, how do I put this? If you put the majority of these players in an environment where they now socially somewhat have to fall in line with the group, people are being well behaved. I have had a great time, and I kind of tear my hair out a little bit, even though private servers historically are fucking cesspools. We all know that. Just look at the Discord. It's fucking disgusting, all that shit. But for the most part, and trust me, I know this after years of, doing a Countdown to Classic podcast with like 12 people on the line right now, 20 more sitting here in the audience, and everyone being on their best behavior. If you just fucking be a normal person, people will generally fall in line and be normal with you. I don't know. It's just, have you guys, like, would you describe this server as a fucking cesspool, or if you had a fine experience?
No, like I haven't had a single bad dungeon experience. Like everyone's been great. Like no complaining, no whining, no toxicity, nothing.
I do think we are a bit insulated. I feel, like you said, you turned off world chat.
Yeah.
And it's definitely out there.
Oh, yeah.
We had a couple of people in just random pugs that were a little sketchy, just kind of not saying anything terrible, but like you could tell that's
they wanted
the kind of people they are. Yeah,
they wanted to. And that's a lot of them. A lot of the edgelords, the fucking pieces of shit out there, they test the waters. They'll say a half thing that just sees if someone pushes open the door that they've nudged a creak in, if you know what I mean. But if you generally if you don't push open the door, then more often than not they'll just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just don't participate.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm not saying Epoch's perfect. I'm not saying it's the fucking promised, wonderland of fluffiness and niceties. There are horrible people out there on any private server. You're going to read horrible things if you sit in well chat. And I've been criticized for this, for saying, Josh, just turn off world chat. That's a horrible thing to have to recommend to people. You need to address the root cause of the problem, which is stopping people from saying this shit and having moderation. Well, I don't run the server and I can't stop people from saying this shit, so I do what I can do and I just opt out. Yes, it sucks that's an indication of the kind of players that sometimes wind up on these servers, but like it's just what I do. I don't put myself in a position where I'm just going to get upset. So when I'm in a dungeon, I gauge these people by what they say in party chat, and no one said anything dumb yet, so I'm having a good time. That's all I can do. Guys, we'll wind it up there. Thank you so much for doing this one with me. I'll hang out with you a bit more after I end the recording, but we'll see you all on Saturday.